Hey, welcome. So we'll start by just settling in together. I'll start by getting my camera situated. Welcome. All right. So once again, I am doing my Facebook live stream, but I'm also streaming on YouTube. So for those of you on YouTube, if you want to interact and be able to ask questions and such, join me over on Facebook. There is a link for that in the description of this video. It's facebook.com/Graham Jessica, or just stay where you are. And you can always message me later with questions if anything comes up. Thanks to those of you joining on Facebook. This is all virtual these days, so we'll be interacting here through the comments. So if you have a question that comes up during the class, you just let me know. We'll have a period of time for that as well. So let's begin by just settling in. And we'll do that by finding a comfortable posture. And this could be sitting, it could be standing, or it could be lying down. So get in whatever position is going to feel most supportive for your body. And go ahead and close your eyes if you like. So we're just taking a few minutes to settle in together to start to create the container of the space in which we'll practice. So closing your eyes again if you like, finding that nice, comfortable posture. And ideally, the spine is upright or long. So if you need to lie down, if that's what works best for your body, get in a position that still allows for a nice long spine. And I invite you to start to invite some relaxation into your body, softening into the forehead, softening into the eyebrows and the space between the eyebrows. Relaxing and softening down into the eyes and all those little muscles around your eyes. Relaxing into your mouth and your jaw. And maybe allowing the mouth to drop open just a little bit as you relax in the jaw. Continuing to relax and release down into the neck and the shoulders, inviting those shoulders to soften and release. And as we continue to relax into the body, you might run into spots that are not interested in relaxing. And that's okay. Rather than forcing anything, I invite you to go ahead and soften around any areas of tension, letting go of resistance to tension, letting it be there if it needs to be there right now. As I often share, a big part of some of my health conditions is tension in my body. And so, learning to allow tension to be there and relax around tension has been a wonderful teaching for me. And so, whether you're dealing with something like that or not, this allowing of what is a beautiful way to offer yourself love and to arrive into this moment just as it is. Continuing to soften down into your arms and your hands. Softening and relaxing into the chest and the upper back. into the solar plexus and the mid back, just calling this relaxation into the body wherever it's available. Down into the lower abdomen and the lower back, continuing to relax and soften into the hips and the seat and the pelvic area. Down both of your legs and into your feet. And I want you to take a moment here and just allow yourself to be focused on what is relaxed. So the tendency may be to pull your attention may be pulled into places that are tight and tense and uncomfortable, into anxiety or fear. And so I encourage you to give yourself a few moments here to just be with what is relaxed, to be with what does feel okay in your body right now. Just take a moment to breathe and relax, continuing to orient towards what feels good, what feels relaxed in the body. And each time you're pulled into thought or pulled into some sensation in the body that doesn't feel relaxed, I want you to gently and without any judgment bring your attention back to what is relaxed, even if it's just your pinky finger. Being with the relaxation, the comfort, the pleasure that's available in this moment, regardless of circumstances, regardless of anything going on in the world. Give yourself a moment to just focus on what feels relaxed, what feels good in your body. Okay, great. So, folks on Facebook, let me know if you can hear me okay. Just give me a thumbs up because I have my mic connected to YouTube and I'm just speaking into the phone on Facebook. So, just let me know if there's any difficulty hearing me. All right, folks. So, wow, what a week it has been. Thank you for the thumbs up. What a week it's been. Anyone who has had a meditation practice is realizing about now how much that comes in handy and how just sitting down and taking some time to practice every day builds up resiliency. Oh, okay. So you're having a little trouble hearing me. I'm going to bring you closer. Let me know if that ends up being any better for you, Cameron. I brought you a little closer to me. um, so you're probably recognizing how helpful a meditation practice is in this last week. The ability to slow down, to pause, to get present with what's actually happening in this moment rather than everything we're afraid that might happen. This is something meditation gives us. You also might be just starting a meditation practice in the last week because it might feel like, whoa, I got to do something. I got to do something. Things are super intense. So, either way, whether you've been practicing for a long time, maybe you've been practicing with me for a long time, or maybe you're just starting. Either way, I welcome you and I see you and I am loving you so much. So, when I say that, when I say I see you and I love you, It's not necessarily coming from me. It is coming from me, but it's also coming from this sense of being seen and being loved at all times from all directions. And my spiritual practice, probably the greatest gift has been that sense of being seen and loved always, never being alone, never being separate. And so when I say that to you, I do mean, yeah, I see you and I love you. And I also mean you are seen and loved unconditionally, unlimited love. So I'm seeing you and I'm loving you. And I also feel you seeing me and loving me. Hmm. All right. So there's a lot of different things we could work with today because there's just such an intense experience happening on this planet right now. And there are so many different ways to use meditation to address some of what's might be coming up for you. And I've been doing a lot of online offerings on Facebook, on Instagram, a little bit on YouTube, and I'm also doing different Zoom classes. I'm doing a lot because it's really helpful to have lots of different tools. I don't think there's just one right way to meditate or one, right way to be spiritual. Um, Really, it's about what works. And so for me, my spiritual practice and what I consider spirituality to be has changed and changed and changed again over the years as I've changed and changed and changed again and again over the years. And so each time I offer something online, it's one piece of something that might be helpful for you. Ultimately, we're all our own best teachers. Ultimately, by just sitting down and getting quiet and still, your body, your system will tell you exactly what you need. And so I'm just here to offer some extra support. So I think what I'd like to focus on this evening is emotion and feeling emotion. I talked a little bit about this last night on a few quick little live Facebook and Instagram lives I did, but I think it's worth a deeper dive and a longer practice. So, this is my Sunday meditation class. I should have started here. This is my Sunday meditation class, and normally this is done in person and on Facebook Live. Right now, obviously, we're doing everything virtually. And the way this class works is I talk a little bit, I give a guided meditation for about 30 to 40 minutes, and then maybe I talk a little more, and then I open it up for questions. And so that's what we're going to do, just to kind of give you the container of what this is. Um, I've included links for more information about what I do, as well as ways to make donations if you so wish. So all of that is there, and I always welcome you to reach out to me if I can be of any support to you, whether that's through social media or through my website. Uh, Feel free to be in touch. So we're going to work today with emotion and with feeling emotions in our bodies. So oftentimes when we ask someone, "How are you feeling?" they tell you what they're thinking. Or oftentimes when someone asks you what you're feeling, you might tell them what you're thinking. And a big part of what I do in my one-on-one sessions is there's a lot of like, okay, I hear that. And what's actually happening in your body right now? And so that's what we're going to do in this class today is get in touch with what's actually happening in your body. Now, for many folks, it might feel really uncomfortable to be with what's happening in the body right now. Because for many of us, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of anxiety. For some of us watching, there may even be physical symptoms of coronavirus. I've been seeing more and more people pop up on my feed who are reporting symptoms and getting testing. And so maybe you're even dealing with that, which can feel really scary. It can make you not want to be in your body, or even just the thought of the possibility of it can make you feel scared and not want to be in your body. Also, there's just so much intensity everywhere we turn right now. And so many people are feeling so much. And so if you're sensitive to that, you might be kind of taking that all in like a sponge. And that might be a reason you don't want to feel quite so much. Also, another thing that's really important to mention is that for anyone who's dealing with any kind of PTSD, this can be very triggering. It can be triggering to be isolated in your home. It can be triggering to be isolated in your home with other people, maybe. That can be triggering. Um, it can be, just the general sort of dysregulation that so many of us are experiencing given the situation that can trigger some trauma response for folks. And so when you're triggered in a trauma response, one thing you might do is just jump out of your body. Or you might be like, whoa, there's too much pain and scariness here. I don't want to be in this body. And so it's another reason why you might not be feeling your feelings lately. Also, for many, there's a real addiction to keeping track of what's going on. So, a lot of like reading the news and checking up on the social media feeds, and that in of itself can disconnect us from our body. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be informed, but we want to be aware. Is this process of being informed also a process of disembodiment? So, to start to get into what we're actually feeling emotionally, not what we're thinking, not the story, but what we're actually feeling. This is incredibly powerful and healing, because when we're feeling a bunch of emotions, but we're kind of pushing them down or away or ignoring them in some way, they end up you end up getting a little bit emotionally constipated, which can lead to all kinds of things that are not so much fun, don't feel so great. And we can end up getting very kind of anxious because we're not just letting these feelings process. And so we want to, in a safe way, allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling. And so I want to offer a space tonight where you can get into some of the feelings. But what I'll say is that if, as we're exploring feeling and feeling into all of the myriad of emotions that might be arising for you, you have the option to turn away from the intensity of emotion and focus on resource. So we started with relaxation. We started by just focusing on what was relaxed and what felt good in the body. So that's always an option, to go there, to go to what feels good in your body. And then you can come back to exploring the emotions if you feel ready. So, emotional sensation. For a lot of people, this is happening in the face and the throat and the chest and the stomach. It could happen somewhere else for you. But for the majority of people, that's where they report experiencing emotional sensation. So that's where I'm going to invite you to direct your attention first when we start the practice. And invite you to feel into those areas. And what we are getting curious about are any sensations that seem to have an emotional flavor. So, for example, if you're feeling fear, there might be sort of a tightening up in the throat and the chest. If you're feeling grief, there might be sort of an ache in the chest. If you're feeling anxiety or nervousness, there might be sort of a spinning, sort of twisty feeling in the stomach. If you're feeling joy, which it's totally okay to be feeling joy, just because there's this pandemic occurring doesn't mean that we are not allowed to feel joy. I had my 40th birthday yesterday and it was a beautiful day and I felt tons of joy. So if you're feeling joy, you might be feeling it in your face. You might be feeling sort of like a bursting warm feeling in your face. You might be feeling a warm rush through the torso. Or think about when you feel a huge burst of love. Like, I talk a lot about my niece and my nephews, and when I think of them, I just feel this, like, pulsing, vibrating, warm, layered kind of explosion of sensation all through my chest and in my face. So that would be emotional sensations. There's actually a lot of emotional sensations in what I just described. So we're very accustomed to thinking of emotions as the story related to what we're feeling, why we're feeling it. But what I'm going to invite you to do is to actually just feel it. Just feel it as a sensation. Okay. And we'll bring an attitude of curiosity and acceptance and kindness to the process of feeling the emotional sensations in our bodies. So before we move forward, um, does anybody have any questions or anything you want to share with me before we dive into the practice? And it might be possible, and I'm sure it's possible to do it on YouTube. So you can try there. I'll see what happens. But definitely on Facebook, you can just put a comment in. If there's any questions about what I've shared so far or about what we're doing, you can go ahead and add a comment while I have a sip of my water. Okay. Well, if anything comes up, we will address it after the practice. So, I invite you to go ahead and get settled into your posture. And again, this can be sitting, it can be lying down, it can even be standing up, whatever is going to work for your body. Oh, we did get a question. Can this practice help in healing trauma? Yes. There's a lot more to say about that though, and I'm really happy to talk about it. Um, so just for right now, what I want to say is for anyone who is working with trauma to remember what I said about resource. So put your attention on something that feels good, feels relaxed, feels safe in your body if at any time you start to feel overwhelmed. I'm going to remind you of that. And that's a really important tool for working with trauma is to be able to go to resource. And so, Philip, I'll come back to that question and speak a little bit more to it after the meditation and share a little bit about my personal experience with it. Because absolutely it can. It's not the only thing though. We need a combination of modalities to work with trauma. Okay. Thank you for the question. And we'll come back. I'll come back to it. So go ahead and start to settle into your posture. I'll settle into my posture too. Okay. Go ahead and close your eyes if you like. And let's all just start by acknowledging that we're doing this together. So we have folks on Facebook, we have folks on YouTube, and there'll be folks that watch this after in the replay. So there's a whole community that we've created here together. And so I just want you to first just start there. You are not alone. We are together in community in this moment. Good. Now, again, I want to invite you to relax from your head down to your toes. Remembering that when you run into any spots that aren't interested in relaxing, just offer those areas of tension acceptance, kindness, and soften around those areas, letting go of resistance. Paying attention to any areas where you know that you personally hold tension and stress in your body. Maybe it's the jaw. Just let it go easy, easy. Just let it drop. Maybe the shoulders want to do a little scrunch up to the ears and then release. Maybe the belly wants to soften a bit. The hands want to soften. Just breathing and relaxing. Good. Now, first, we'll do a special exercise to sensitize ourselves to emotional sensation in case this is something that's new to you. And before we do that, I want to be really clear that for some of you, there may not be any emotional sensations during this meditation. You may not be aware of anything emotional in your body, and that's okay. That doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. So, if you're not aware of any emotional sensations through this meditation, what I want to invite you to do is just notice the sensations that are there, whatever you do feel in your body. Remembering that you can also always move your attention towards relaxation or pleasure. The special exercise we're going to do is just to sensitize you to some of the places you might feel emotions. But as we move into the practice, you're not going to be doing this. You're not going to be intentionally creating anything. You're just going to notice what's there. When we get to the very end of the practice, we might do a little bit of intentional emotion. But for now, it's just going to be this special exercise. And then when we move into the practice, let go of that exercise and just notice what's there without trying to create anything. So I want you to start by bringing to mind something challenging for you. Now, clearly, there's a lot of challenging things going on right now for a lot of people. I invite you not to choose the most challenging. So if you're choosing coronavirus, choose an aspect of it that doesn't completely freak you out. Or maybe there's something else. Maybe, your significant other put a bunch of dishes that weren't fully cleaned into the dish rack or something. Something that just bothers you. It doesn't need to be the most painful, awful thing going on. So bringing to mind a challenge, seeing it in your mind, and then noticing where you feel the reaction to that in your body. Places to pay attention to are your face, your throat, your chest, and your stomach. I want you to notice this sensation in your body, if there is one present, and get curious about it. Experience it as a sensation, letting go of the thought that you use to cultivate it. Just notice the sensation. Good. Now I want you to let that go completely. Take a nice deep breath, breathing in all the way down into your belly and letting it go with a sigh. Again, breathing in. One more inhale. Let it go. Good. Now I'd like you to bring to mind something that is bringing you joy or something that just makes you mildly happy. Anything from the past week, the past month, your whole life, just something that when you think of it, it makes you happy. And then I want you to notice, where do you feel that happy? Where in the body is there a reaction to the positive thought? Like I modeled earlier, when I think of my niece and my nephews, that really creates a lot of pleasant, happy sensations in my body. And we're just feeling those sensations, just noticing where they are and really feeling them. Okay. Good. So now let's go into the practice. That was the special exercise. We're going to let go of that special exercise and move into the practice. This is a practice of feeling our feelings, a practice of contacting and exploring emotional sensation. Before we go into it, I'd like you to take a moment to tune in to what I was talking about earlier. And for those of you that have joined late, I was talking about this unconditional love that's holding you, that you are, that you're always connected to because it's inside of you and all around you. This sense of being seen and loved without any judgment, without any condition. This vast love, this mysterious grace holds everything, including the emotional sensations that we're going to explore in this practice. Good. Now, begin to explore with your physical awareness any sensations that seem to have an emotional flavor in your body. The areas to start with are the face, throat, chest, and stomach, though your emotional sensations may be other places as well. So I want you to go ahead and scan through the body. And when you come in contact with a sensation that seems to have an emotional flavor to it, I want you to pause there and start to feel the sensation. You don't need to know what emotion it is, but it's also okay if you do know. You don't need to know why the emotion is there, but it's also okay if you do know. Either way, it doesn't matter. All we're doing here is contacting and exploring emotional sensation. If there is nothing that feels emotional happening in your body, then just feel what is happening in your body. Your breath, an area of relaxation, an area of tension, your clothing on your skin, or any other physical sensation that is available. But if there are emotional sensations, go ahead and choose one and focus on it, feeling it, noticing how big it is, how much space it takes up in the body, how far into the body or out of the body it goes. Where does it feel heavy or light? Does it vibrate or undulate? Does it feel solid? Does it bounce around? And I invite you to stay with one sensation for as long as you like, or you can float around to different emotional sensations. If you're doing that, let it be easy so it doesn't feel chaotic. So, spending at least a few breaths, a few moments with a sensation before moving to another one. And each time you get pulled into the mind, into the story about the sensation or the story about anything else, gently and without any judgment, untangle from the mind and come back to the body. And if there is judgment, don't judge the judgment. This is a practice. We're practicing returning to emotional sensations. You are not expected to get this right or to be perfect at this. That's why it's a practice. And especially in times like this, it can be hard to be with the body. So be gentle and patient with yourself as you practice. Keep coming back to emotional sensation, to actually feeling it, letting go of the visuals related to the sensation and just feeling the sensation. And again, if there's nothing that seems emotional, then put your attention on what you are feeling in your body and just stay open. And maybe an emotional sensation will arise, maybe it won't. And remember, some of the emotions are quite uncomfortable, but some of them are totally pleasurable. And you get to choose what emotional sensation you want to focus on. Remembering that if at any time you feel overwhelmed, just take your attention to resource. Take your attention to something that feels safe, that feels grounded, that feels relaxed, something that is not activated. That's always there for you. Keep coming back to what you're feeling. Keep coming back to your body. Feeling the body from the body. If you come in contact with an emotional sensation that's really hard to be with, you always have the option to take your attention elsewhere. But don't resist the sensation. Don't try to get rid of it. We're here to feel it all. Doesn't mean you need to focus on all of it right now, but we want to allow it all to be felt, to be expressed. And so if you notice you're bracing against a sensation, let go of that bracing. Allow yourself to feel. So important to allow your body to process and feel. Along the same lines, we are not trying to quiet our thoughts here. They might settle down, they might not. The only instruction is just keep coming back to the body in a kind, gentle way. So don't spend this time trying to wrangle the mind. It may be impossible today to wrangle your mind. Your mind is just doing what a mind does. It's okay. Just keep coming back to what you're feeling. I also want to remind you that everything that you're feeling, everything that you're experiencing is held and part of a vast and spacious love, a goodness that's inherent, that's unconditional. You're being seen and loved in all of your manifestation, in all of your human expression. So let it express. And if that means that laughter escapes, then let it out. If that means that tears start to fall, then let them. Maybe this time is just about allowing for a release. So much for these sweet human bodies to be experiencing right now. Or maybe this time is just about gathering attention and calming the whole system. Or maybe it's just about a little timeout. But whatever it is for you, keep feeling. Keep feeling those sensations as they arise and as they pass, noticing that everything changes. No sensation stays exactly the same. There's a flow to this experience of emotion. There's a flow to this experience of the human body. So, if you've been exploring one aspect of emotion, maybe notice what else is going on. If you haven't moved around at all with attention, maybe notice what emotional sensations are present in your face or somewhere else in your body that you haven't checked out yet. Bringing so much curiosity and kindness and acceptance to this process. Allowing the emotional body to be like a brand new landscape that's never yet been explored. And you're experiencing it for the very first time, this sensation, fresh, new, uncharted. Each time you get pulled into thinking, into planning, into memories, into worries, into fantasies, gently and without any judgment, bringing your attention back to the body, back to what you're feeling, perhaps back to emotional sensation, if there are emotions present. Now, for the last few minutes of the practice, I want to invite you to do a visualization with me. And as we do this, notice the emotions that arise. So, we're going to start to cultivate a sense of positivity in the body. You need to bring your attention to the solar plexus area. And I want you to imagine a golden light starting to grow here in the center of your torso. And I want you to imagine this golden light is healing and loving and good. I want you to imagine that healing, loving, and good golden light starting to expand out into your entire body, filling your body, filling every cell, rushing through your blood, filling every organ, filling you. Then I want you to imagine this golden light expanding out beyond your body, starting to fill the room that you're in. Remembering that this golden light is good and loving and healing. Spreading out into the house or the building, beginning to touch anyone it comes in contact with, filling them with love and goodness and healing. Continue to expand that outward. Just let it keep going. Seeing it fill your town, your city, your state, your country. Imagining this light of goodness and of love and of healing expanding out to cover this entire planet. Zoom out until you're looking down and all around at this beautiful planet that is our home, and see the entire thing filling with this golden light of love and goodness and healing. And then let it keep expanding in every direction, into every dimension. Goodness and love and healing. And know that that is you. You are that goodness. You are that love. You are that healing. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. One more inhale. And when you're ready, go ahead and blink your eyes open. And just reacclimate to the space that you're in. And now I want to respond to something that Philip asked over on YouTube, but I also, as I respond to that, I want to invite folks to add a comment about anything that came up for you in the practice, any questions you have, any just reports you want to share, reflections you want to share. Now is the time for that, and I'll go ahead and respond to the question I started to respond to before the practice, which was, can this practice help in healing trauma? So, anyone who knows me knows that I'm very passionate about working on trauma and healing trauma. My personal story is that I come from a lot of trauma and have PTSD. And 10 years ago, if I got triggered, I would go into a full PTSD response where my heart would be pounding and all the blood would rush to my major organs. My arms and legs would go cold. My body was basically preparing for death. And, I'd have digestive things happen and I would stop being able to think. It was very severe when it would happen. And I didn't understand it when I was younger. And about 10 years ago, I had been practicing meditation for a couple of years and I had learned some about trauma. So I started to understand what it was, but I didn't have any capacity for working with it. Because at that point, the way I was working with it is I was just doing this practice. So I was sitting down and I was just feeling the intensity of the emotional reactions. And so it's basically just like sitting in a pool of trauma. And in some ways, that was very fruitful. And there was a lot of like spiritual purification that occurred. But there was also some sort of re traumatizing that happened as well. And so, about 10 years ago, I got real serious about addressing trauma because I saw how it was limiting my life. And also saw how it was blocking me on my spiritual path. Because sometimes what would happen is I would have a big opening and there would be an awakening experience. And it was almost like a portal would open and then my trauma would insert itself and I would become terrified and sort of a combo of the ego death fear that can come up on the path along with an actual fear of death from the trauma. And so it was really limiting my development in that way. And it was also just limiting my ability to be in relationship with others and to enjoy life. So I got very serious about addressing it. And I laid off of this practice a little bit at that time because I had been doing way too much of it. And I started working with a lot of different trauma modalities. And one of those is somatic experiencing, as well as EMDR. And they're a big part of how I healed my trauma, but it was informed by my meditation practice. It would have been a much slower process, the somatic experiencing and the EMDR, if I didn't know how to be with emotions. And so, this practice of being with emotions gave me a real leg up in the trauma healing. So, they work together. I really think they work together. And there's also a lot of other modalities. If you are using this particular technique to work with trauma, the way that I suggest doing it is a titration process. So, this is something, again, from somatic experiencing developed by Peter Levine. So, the titration process is to go into the challenging experience and then to go to resource. So, then to go to something that is relaxed or pleasurable or grounded or just not activated, maybe neutral, and spend some time there, allowing the other stuff, the challenging material to process, and then coming back to it, feeling into it for a moment, and then again returning to resource. So, moving back and forth, titrating. I also recommend that you don't do it alone. So, if you are working with a lot of trauma, getting support is so important. So, whether that is a trauma therapist, which I recommend, as well as body workers. I got a lot of trauma recovery through body work, breath work, voice work, and then coaches and teachers as well. So you don't need to do it on your own. And there are lots of resources available, especially right now. There's just so much available out there, and a lot of it is free or really affordable. So if you are feeling that trauma is being triggered in this time of intensity, then definitely get support. Um, Meditation, I would say, is the foundation for my trauma healing. And then there's all the pieces that were able to be built on top of that. So if trauma recovery is something that you're working on, having a daily meditation practice is going to be really, really helpful for that. Keep in mind also, there are so many different ways to meditate. So we did one practice and then a visualization today. There are just endless ways to meditate. So you find the things that work best for you. All right. There's always more to say about trauma. It's such a huge topic, but I hope that was helpful, Philip. Let me know if you have any follow up question. Um, and Tate says EMDR helped me a lot too. Yeah, EMDR is pretty powerful. It's really powerful stuff. So, any other questions or reports about the practice that we did? We still have a few minutes here. Anything anyone noticed that they care to share, or anything going on that I can support you with? This time is also for that. So, if there's something happening for you in your meditation practice or in your life that you'd like some support from me on, now is a good time for that. Just go ahead and add your comment, and I'm happy to address it to the best of my ability. Okay, I'll leave a few more minutes in case anyone does want to add another question or comment. And in the meantime, I'll just make a few quick announcements. Um, I'm doing a Zoom class tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard. So if you'd like to join and you haven't already sent me your email address, um, go ahead and send me your email address. You can do it if you're on Facebook, you can DM it. If you're on YouTube, you can probably contact me through YouTube, but you could also um, go to my website, yourwildawakening.com, and message me through my contact form. Send me your address, and I'll put you on the list. So this is a free meditation class tomorrow on Zoom, and also a chance to connect with community. Um, so this comment's not opening, Michelle. I'm not sure if there was a question in there, but it looks like Michelle's sharing that transformational neuro-linguistic programming is also really helpful. Yes, I have definitely heard that. I know a number of people who really love that. Um, and Jessica says, I'm supposed to be leading a meditation for a large company I usually do body work for, who are working remotely from all over the world. That's fantastic. It's wonderful. Huh. I wonder why these oh, there we go. Lauren says, thinking about how to work with fear, keep thinking about the length of this, trying to stay in the day, but the days look long ahead. Yeah, so it's okay to have fear. The whole saying, like, you're either in faith or you're in fear, I don't really buy that. I think you can be in total faith and in complete terror at the same time. So it's okay that you're feeling fear. Oh, I see you, Jessica. I'll come back. Um, I hear you, Lauren. That's not really a question, but yeah, I mean, you have all the tools you need for working with this, and make sure you're giving yourself pockets of time where you get to feel the fear because it is scary, and that's okay. That's part of the experience. But yeah, when we get into how long is this going to last? How long am I going to be stuck in my house? How long are people going to be getting sick? Yeah, once we're in that kind of thinking, that can take us into some really scary neighborhoods. And so I would say you don't want to try to stop your thoughts, but you can absolutely redirect. So redirect to what's amazing about this time. Like, there's so much beautiful online connection happening. There are dolphins in the Venice canals. I don't know. There's a lot of beautiful things and positive things to lean into. Um, so if you find yourself really in a spiral of fear and negativity around what's happening, see if you can find some of the positives, even if that's just, yes, I got I got my favorite, frozen meal and I'm going to eat it tonight. Even that is a really lovely positive thought. So don't avoid or resist the fear and the anxiety, but you don't necessarily have to stew in it either. And we have no idea what's going to happen. So our mind is going to come up with what we think is going to happen. It might be well informed. Maybe you're very well researched. My partner is very well researched in all this, but we still don't know. And the beautiful thing about this time is that we're all getting this opportunity to just fully hang out in the I don't know if we let ourselves. And that's where we all are all the time anyway. We're always in the I don't know. We're just pretending that we're not. So this is an opportunity to get comfortable there. So, whoops, all my comments went away. Um, so, Jessica, sorry, for some reason my comments went away. But I think you were asking if I had any thoughts on what to lead for the group. Um, and I would say right now people are really wanting to feel safe and wanting to feel a sense of comfort. And so practices for safety and comfort could be really helpful. So even just helping people relax and feel into their bodies and find the places that feel good, um, that can do wonders. And oftentimes people think that to meditate you're supposed to be uncomfortable and your mind is supposed to be such a problem. But if you can encourage people to not worry about what's happening in the mind, to not try to quiet it, and then to focus on what does feel comfortable, that can be really helpful. So I don't know where my comments went. Oh, there they are. They're back. Um, okay. Was there another question here? The worst thing you can do, in my experience, is not accept the fear and keep it inside. Yes, I agree. And ask for help. Yes, ask for help. Definitely. Support is so important. I've got a lot of support. I couldn't give the support if I didn't have a lot of support. So, um, okay, I see you, Philip. You wanna? I'm gonna copy your email and put it here so I don't lose it when the video ends. Okay, I'll add you to my list for tomorrow. Okay, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, I'm doing a Zoom class tomorrow. Email me or message me your email address if you would like to join it. And then also, one more thing is Chris and I will be leading a day-long meditation retreat on Saturday. It's called Safe Harbors. It's called Safe Harbors, cultivating a sense of true safety. And it's going to be a bunch of practices for creating a sense of safety and connecting to unconditional safety. Be meditation practices, dialogue, some spiritual guidance, as well as some writing exercises, and a chance to connect with community. So we're going to be announcing that tonight, and I'll start blasting it out everywhere. If you'd like to come to that, we'd love to have you. It's going to be on Zoom. It's a whole day next Saturday, and it's on a sliding scale, and we'd love to see you there. That's my partner Chris and I, and we teach day longs together in person, but this is going to be a virtual day long. So I'll be posting about that tonight and tomorrow and all week to let people know about it, and we'd love to see you there. All right, let's take a moment to seal off our time today. Thank you, Johnny. Thanks for being here. Thank you. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Tate. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, everybody else who joined on Facebook. And go ahead and just close your eyes for a moment. And I just want you to take a breath into whatever you're feeling right now. And then letting it go slowly. I want to encourage you to keep feeling. And I want to encourage you to keep remembering that you are limitless, unconditional love. And that limitless and unconditional love is everything else as well. So you are always being seen and always being loved. I see you and I love you, Facebook Live folks. And I see you and I love you, YouTube folks. Thank you so much for being here. Take such good care of yourselves and each other, and I hope to see you again soon. So much love.